Welcome to the Better Agent Podcast. If you're a real estate agent that's looking to grow your business, then you're in the right place. Whether you want to go from 5 to 10 transactions a year, or 10 to 50 transactions per year, or more, well, then this show is for you. I'm Josh Lavik, your host for the Better Agent Podcast, and in each episode, we'll bring you the tools, tips, and tricks directly from myself and some of the best leaders within the real estate industry. We have one goal in mind, and that's to boost your production and elevate your real estate game. Let's dive in and start creating a better real estate experience together. Welcome back to the Better Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Lavik, and I am talking about your real estate business and growth. So if that's what you're interested in hearing and talking about or listening about, then you're in the right place, and hopefully you get some value out of our show today. I'm here to bring a lot of my experience in the last 20 years in the real estate business and, growing from just a solo agent and on up to our team that we currently have. And then also I like to learn from others. So that's why I bring on wonderful guests that also have some great experience and great stories to tell about growth and challenges and successes and everything along the way. So today I've got a great guest that I'm excited to share with you guys. Today I have Mr. Bowtie Group himself, Alex Young. So Alex, welcome to the show. And why don't you give our listeners a little brief intro about yourself and your real estate business, if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. Josh, thank you so much for having me. My name is Alex Young. I am of the Bowtie Group. It sounds super fancy. It has been just me, myself, and I for the last 5.5 years. So even though it says the Bowtie Group, it's me. Fortunately, though, I've been able to bring on my wife, Amanda. Her and I work together and have been working together now since this past July, not current to July 2024. So just over a year.
Just over a year. Okay.
Just over a year, but it's just the two of us. I'm front of house. She's back of house. And we've got a pretty well-oiled machine. I'm fortunate to still be here after 8 years. I know the burnout tends to claim agents within the first year or two. So the fact that I'm still here is more than I can be grateful for.
After 8 years, that's a fact. I think, I was seeing something about the stats on if agents can make it at least even 5 years, the success rate actually is pretty high. I think if you make it at least 5 years, you've pretty much made it. I mean, 8 years is definitely a testament to you. I mean,
I've heard similar stats. I don't know if I'd say I've made it just yet. There's always room to grow and room to improve and to really figure out what that life I want to live with my wife and our business. But again, I take every year as a new challenge. So I'm just grateful to still be here.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's, I appreciate that sentiment. And that's obviously what we're here about, right? I mean, that's kind of why I started this podcast, because I am of the similar mindset. I believe there's always something new we can learn, always another book to read, right? I got a full shelf and I just keep buying more. I feel like there's always something new to learn, always something to implement and change and improve upon every day in your real estate business and in your life and in your career. And I think that's a big part of what makes, I think, the real estate business so interesting. It's like, it's always changing and evolving, but there's always something new and interesting to learn, something new you can implement, something we can learn from each other, which is what I love about this podcast as well. And even some of the other mastermind groups that we participate in and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, you started from zero at 8 years ago, and now you're what are numbers looking like for you these days?
Absolutely. So started with zero. I could still go through and rattle off every single year. I'm very logic driven. However, started on the team for the first 1.5 years. And now this past year, it was just over almost around 21 million,
Sure.
Which is between 54 and 55 deals.
Nice.
During that. So, yeah.
There you go. Well, that's certainly a solid business. I mean, that's been, between just you and your wife, I mean, between just two people, that's a good business. So, you can kind of do the math of what, revenues you can gather from that. But I mean, if you're doing 30, 40, 50, 60 transactions a year, I mean, that's a good, healthy business. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
So what do you think, I guess, if we look back, if we were to rewind a little bit, what do you think were one or two of the kind of key milestones during, I don't know, year 1, 2, 5, whatever that might be for you? What do you think were like key pivotal moments that really moved the needle and really impacted your career?
I can narrow it down to 3 in particular. So the first one obviously was just getting started. Prior to working in real estate, I worked in retail sales and telecommunications. And from there, I jumped both feet in to working in real estate at my wife's suggestion. And I thought, what better way to go through and have all the freedom and the life that I want than by not working for somebody else? And the first 2 weeks, I went through and I had 3 deals under contract. And I was like, great, this is super easy. And then I struggled the rest of the year, like most people do. I had a big head, and boy, did I get punched in the face. So
Yeah.
that first winter was difficult, was a struggle. I forced it through to the
Yeah.
next year and was able to keep going. The second pivot point was at the end of that second year, which was when the team that I was on essentially dissolved. And I
Right.
had been struggling up to that point, and it was either you know what, is this really for me? Is this something where
Yeah.
I can continue going through this, or do I need to go through and go back to that 9 to 5, that security blanket that I had up
Sure.
until that point in time? And my wife had really suggested, like, hey, you've already gotten yourself this far. Why don't you take a bet on yourself? And that's when the formation of the Bowtie Group. And from there, the third point, that was really the big pivot point, was actually a little over a year ago, when I had learned that I was one of the top producing agents here in Northeast Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And to be invited to some of the events and to some of the conversations and to sit at the table with some of the other agents that I've looked up to
Yeah.
and have envied and have wanted to learn from over these past 8 years, to be in the same conversations as them and be talked to as what felt like an equal, was
Yeah.
probably the major pivoting point, because I got punched in the face, I got backed into a corner, and then to have that kind of turnaround, to be able to be a part of the conversation, to really contribute to others, was probably the third pivot point.
Yeah, wow, that's so great. I mean, I think that those are interesting stories too, and I think they resonate probably with a lot of people. I mean, I know they resonate with me because my story actually isn't that different. I mean, I remember my first year in the business was probably by far the hardest, and even my second year, I wasn't really that successful. I was in my young 20s, didn't even know if I wanted to be in real estate, honestly. But I think I had a similar sort of defining moment, right? And that's that moment that you talked about and alluded to, which is, all right, let's do this, both feet in, here we go. And it's, for me, it was like I was sort of halfway in real estate, halfway out, and like, okay, if I'm going to do this, let's go. And like suddenly the moment you do that, right, it's the moment you jump in with both feet, the moment you commit to that next level, that exact moment, your business will take off. And it worked for me and it worked for you. And I can guarantee that if anyone's listening to this, it'll probably work for them as well. So, but it's a certain amount of courage, right? To just say, oh, I gotta,
Courage, stupidity, whatever you want to call it.
courage, stupidity, just going for it. I love it, man. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've been in the business a little bit longer, right? You've been in 8 years, I've been in 20 years. And trust me, I've had many moments where I've thought about quitting, right? I mean, I was in the business during 2008, 9, and 10. I mean, there was many times during that. Trust me, I'm doing short sales and foreclosures and wondering, is this the business for me? Really? This is pretty challenging. And so, but I kind of did a similar thing that you did, right? And that's, you just kind of keep going, and one day at a time, and you just keep moving one foot in front of the other, and you got to almost psych yourself up and to say to yourself, you got to be your own cheerleader in some ways, right? Of saying, yeah, I can do this. I think I can do this. Just keep going, right? It's like
Yeah,
the little engine that could, almost, right? Like, I think
it
I
is.
can. I think I can. And suddenly you're climbing the mountain, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. And last year, top agent in Northeastern Wisconsin, that's definitely a big accolades. Nice work on that.
Thank
I
you.
think that's also coming up for me in terms of what I love participating in at our current brokerage, but also other brokers I've been a part of, is definitely going into certain different mastermind groups and larger networking events and things like that. Just getting in different rooms and talking to
Mhm.
different people at a higher level. You're not talking about how to get your first deal. You're talking about how to get your 50th or something like that, right? You encounter, I think, different challenges along the way as you continue to grow your career. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think getting in those certain rooms and talking to those people, and really that's when a lot of growth has happened for me, for sure, as well. I know that's a fact. So that's
Absolutely. And
yeah,
in those situations, every person has a different definition of what growth and success looks like. And for some, if they're content in being in the same fishbowl that they've been in,
yeah,
that is 100% okay if it provides the lifestyle that they're looking for. I just know that I've never been content with being a small fish in a small bowl. I've always wanted to learn from others and to be around others that are doing things at a higher level and with more care and with more service and adding more value than I've been able to do.
Yeah.
So this last year has been a great opportunity to get some of that.
That's pretty awesome. Gosh, I love that. All right, cool. Yeah. Well, what do you think? Let's maybe go a little deeper on that if you wouldn't
Sure.
mind. So what do you think, I don't know, from like a mental health perspective, right? What do you
Yeah.
do? Maybe share a little bit more about what you do to get yourself performing at such a high level. I mean, doing 54, 55 transactions a year. I mean, you got to be like that's almost a deal a week. I mean, you're moving at a pretty good pace in order to be able to do that, I would think. What are some maybe key rituals or things that you do that keep you in the right frame of mind? And I can go first if you want, just so give you time to think if you'd like. But
Now,
you know,
unfortunately, I've been going through and fighting that part for a while because again, when I said I first was punched in the face and didn't know if I was going to stay in the business, I mean, I've still got, you're not going to be able to see it on camera. I've still got the donating plasma scar on my arm because I remember back then having insurmountable debt that I just was overwhelmed by. I was donating plasma just to go through and be able to get the gas money to be able to go and get to the clients and be of service to them. And it was rough. I'd struggled in my marriage, in my relationships, my friendships, my physical health, my mental health. Like it was the worst of the worst. So for anybody that's looking at getting started and really working through it and what those rituals are, it's just understanding where you came from first and not dismissing the issues and the obstacles that you may have faced there to get you where you are now. From there, though, I'm very fortunate to have had the love and support both of my wife and of my friends and family to go through and get to where I am and being able to pour into others and to be of service to others. So the first part I would recommend is making sure it's not less a ritual and more so just a standard. Surround yourself with the right people. Always make sure that they're the wind in your sails and not the anchor off your ship, because the last thing you want is and it's difficult because there might be people that were perfect for you and have always been your friends or have always been there for you at that point in your life. And if you're content with being at that point in your life for the rest of your life, by all means, keep them around. But it can be a very difficult conversation and a difficult realization to have if you want to become more, to realize that you need to be spending time with the people that are pouring into you and keeping you energized versus always just pulling you down. So that's the first thing is having a conscious standard as to what that looks like. The second thing is really prioritizing what I call filling your cup. That could be from hobbies, that could be from reading books, listening to music, going to the gym, traveling, whatever it might be for you. For me, it's a matter of I need to be around friends, I need to be having a good time, and I need to be traveling in some capacity and going someplace new. And the reason I say that is because you can't pour into the cups of others if yours is empty. So the mental health aspect and being conscious and vulnerable and aware of it, I've got zero issues in having those conversations and sharing it on with your incredible podcast and for your listeners and with my friends, with my family, and having those conversations. So being very vulnerable and transparent about needing to refill that cup. And then the third and last thing is really taking care of your body. It's very easy to prioritize everybody and everything else before you. So making sure that you carve out that time. And the way I do that, it's called bookending. So I've got the first end of my day, or I should say the beginning of my day. I'm one of those weird people. I'm up early in the morning, 4:30. I'm at the gym at 5. I'm there till 6:30. I control from when I wake up until about 8 a.m. And then I control from about 8 p.m. I'd say about 7:30, 8 p.m. until I fall asleep. Everything else can go to, I'm not going to cuss on here, but go to heck. And I will know that I at least had a good start to my day and a good finish to my day.
Sure.
And that's really important to just keep your life and keep your sanity really between the lines.
Yeah. Boy, you know what? I feel like I'm hearing a lot of this and it's resonating because like I feel like I'm talking to myself. It's like, you know, I have a very similar kind of schedule in the sense that I often go to the gym as well at 5 a.m. and I don't every day, but like the days that I'm my best and I show up as my best, like I am. And I'm there. And so, you know, I'm human like anyone else. I go get in certain rituals where, you know, I don't have those bookends as perfect as I can, but like if if most days I can get
Mhm.
those bookends right, as you say, right? If I can get that early morning right and I can get the end of the day right, man, it just seems like everything else goes so much smoother. That's for sure. So
Absolutely. And I don't wish 5 a.m. gym times on anybody. It's
yeah,
miserable. I want to sleep. I don't want to I mean, we're in Wisconsin. I don't want to
yeah,
get up in the middle of winter and go freeze trying to
yeah,
walk into the gym at that time. Sleep is nice, but being able to have that little jump start to your day definitely helps.
yeah. Well, I know for me, it's like if I'm up way too late at night the night before, like the odds of me getting up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym are very low. Part of it is like just thinking a little bit ahead, right? Like you want to get up early, you got to go to bed a little earlier,
Yep.
maybe, and you're not maybe as young as you used to be. And, you can't be out until 2 in the morning partying anymore. I mean, you can, but,
You'll
what's
pay
the
for it
trade-off,
for the
right?
next
You pay
3 weeks,
for it.
but you'll
Exactly.
pay for it.
Yeah. What does your productivity look like? I mean, you're certainly not selling 50 plus homes a year by staying up till 2 in the morning partying all night, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I mean, I'm about as boring as they come. I'm in bed by 9. I'm asleep at 9:30. My wife hates it because the moment my head hits the pillow, I'm
yeah,
lucky if I got 30 seconds in me before I'm
yeah,
asleep. And I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I don't consume a lot of caffeine,
yeah,
much to her confusion because I know a lot of other people tend to need that little jump start. Consume a little bit when I'm at the gym in the morning, but then I don't
yeah,
really have anything else. I'm not a big coffee drinker.
yeah,
I don't really have tea or soda or a whole lot of other things, but it is up bright and early and it's very consistent. The hard part is, even if it's the days that I don't want to get up, I've now unfortunately trained my dogs
yeah.
to get up that early
There you go.
to go out and go to the bathroom. So even if I want to sleep in, they don't. So I'm up
Yeah.
one way or another.
Well, I think too, what's interesting to note is how that shifted, it sounds like for you as well. Because I remember, what you said a little while ago was there was a time when like you were struggling to like just
Yeah.
get by, like you were donating plasma,
Yep.
like your relationships were struggling, your marriage was struggling, like you were in maybe a low place. I have to imagine.
It was rough. It was miserable. My relationships were falling apart. My marriage was falling apart. My physical health was falling apart. My
Yeah,
sanity was falling apart. My business was falling apart. Everything was just kind of going
yeah.
to hell in a handbasket. And it
But you
was
made a conscious choice and you turned that around
yeah.
and you kept going and you had support from your wife and your friends and you chose different rooms to get into and different people to affiliate with and
Mhm.
different people that would pour into you. You
Yeah.
chose to get a new routine, bookend your schedule, right? I mean, you made a shift and you made a change. So I think that's a powerful lesson for anyone that's listening out there, that it's it's sometimes hard, I think, to like say you listen to some top agents and you go to big events and you see these big mega agents on stage and they're selling hundreds of homes and you're like, man, well, I'm really struggling right now. And maybe, I mean, I've been there and you've been there.
Mhm.
And I think that the end of the day is if you are listening to this and you're struggling out there, you can make it. And sometimes it just takes a few key things in your daily schedule, your routine, and key relationships, right? Key people that will pour into you, that will support you, that are going to be your cheerleader and
Mhm.
help be in your corner, that'll help you. And I think you're proof of that. You
Thank
know
you.
what? You can turn it around. So I think that that's a great message for people to hear. And I think I just want to echo that. So
Yeah,
that's
and it's again, in for anybody listening in its simplest form, control what you can control. I can't
yeah,
control other people. I can't control the
yeah,
market. I can't control economic conditions. I can't there are so many things that are beyond my control. But
sure.
I can control when I get up in the morning. I can control when I go to bed at night. I can control the food that goes in my body, the time
Yeah,
I spend around people. I can control the things that enter my head, whether it's through audiobooks or podcasts like this, or
yeah,
what I'm reading, what I'm doing, going to the gym. I control those things. So if
yeah,
you focus on just that, everything else becomes a lot easier.
yeah, totally. Well, there you go. Focus on yourself, get yourself right and in the right frame of mind. I mean, prioritize filling your own cup, and suddenly you can overflow and fill up other people's cups as well. I love that. Love that message. Well, very cool. Well, geez, I don't know. We've been chatting a while here. I
Yeah.
know, anything coming up for you in terms of things you really think our listeners might be interested in hearing about or want to
Yeah.
dive deeper into?
Man, there are so many. That's the beautiful thing about this industry, and about my small little role in it is there's always something new to learn. There's always something new to participate in. There's always something new on the horizon. In this situation, and I go back to what I mentioned earlier about control what you can control. I'm in the process right now of just trying to figure out what my ideal life looks like.
Yeah.
It's very easy, again, to prioritize and to put everybody else. And in this industry, we tend to unfortunately compare ourselves by numbers and by volume and by all of these other external metrics in terms of, well, how much money did you make, how many people did you serve, what are your numbers? Which, don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
numbers are good, money is good, money can be good, money is only as good though as the good money can do. So
Yeah.
I'm in a situation right now, and fortunately, to really figure out, where do I want these? I've been in this for 8 years. What do
Yeah.
the 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 8 years, 20 years look like? Because as much as I love being in front of people and serving my clients and my
Yeah.
community and listeners like yours,
Sure.
I want to figure out, okay, what does my ideal life look like with my wife, with our
Yep.
dogs, with our friends, our families, whoever that might be? So for what's next on the horizon, it's less exciting for everybody else. It's more exciting for me,
Yeah.
but it's really figuring out what success looks like, because it's not all about the fancy cars, the fancy clothes, the fancy houses. That's
Sure.
not something that's really driven me. Uh,
Yep.
and I'm very fortunate to have learned from my coach something that has stuck with me, which is, how do you define success? And I think what he shared, and I think really hits home for me, is success is being able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. And just simply as that, and not have the rest of my life or our business suffer because of that. So I'm in
Yeah.
a existential crisis mode right now, trying
Okay.
to figure out what that looks like.
Yeah, no, I think those are good questions, right? I think they're good things to reflect on because, I think it can be, almost addicting, right? You hear about and you see, and we even alluded to it at the beginning, right? Well, tell our listeners what kind of numbers are you putting up there, right?
Yeah.
Like we use it as metric to kind of compare. Well, how do you line up or whatever, and it matters, right? I mean, we want to have some level of success. I think that's
Yeah.
totally normal and understandable, but like, what are the numbers behind the numbers, right? What are the numbers that
Yeah.
truly matter, right?
Yeah.
What is your relationship like? Like, do you track how many date nights you've had with your wife? Do you
It's,
track
it's
like how many vacations have you had with your kids? I mean,
absolutely. And that's the important piece is
yeah,
as much as I want to say it's about doing all of those other extra and comparing to all those other external metrics, the thing that every single one of us has that is not able to be replenished is going to be that time. So
yeah,
it's, how can I go through and spend my time the best way possible,
totally.
with my wife, the people around me, and that's probably the most exciting part. What's really been driving me these last 12 months since my wife has come on is, what can I do to make our table big enough for everyone to eat at?
Sure.
How can we use our platform and our business to go through and support our friends, our families, other small businesses that we know, other businesses that friends of ours have started?
Mm-hmm.
How can we do things at such a level that our dream is big enough that the dreams of others are able to fit inside of it also? And how do we grow the entire thing?
Yeah.
Success, and if you talk to, obviously, the number of successful agents over the years in your 20-year career, is
Yeah.
success tends to be very lonely, because you end up having to really work more than other people, sacrifice a lot in order to get to that point. It's almost like you said, an obsession. So
Mm-hmm.
we're in a spot right now, we're aware of it. We want
Yeah.
to stop before we get to that point, and how can we grow it in such a way so that everybody at our table is able to have that opportunity?
Yeah, totally. Well, I think it also goes in phases. At least I've noticed for me, like sometimes, I think you need to come to a point where you gotta make a certain trade-off, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're totally broke and not making any money, like you better be maybe over emphasizing the work so that you can get some momentum so that you can
Mhm.
actually afford to throttle it back, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to get the airplane off the runway
Yep.
and like get enough momentum going, but before you totally peel back. But I think
Yeah,
it can be,
getting everything moving is
yeah,
is an object at rest stays at rest, unless it's pushed on by an outside force that's greater than that. And when I first started off, I made those decisions. I was young. I was hungry. I wanted to do all the things all the time. I was answering emails at 5, 6 in the morning. I was working till 10, 11 at night. I burnt myself out, but I realized that my marriage was miserable. My friendships were struggling. All those other aspects of my life that really lead to a full life were torn apart, were by the wayside. And having the conscious awareness of that's not the only way to do it. You might have to do it for a little bit here and there, because again, work is necessary, but to have the awareness and the mental fortitude to realize there's a different way, and then actually committing to doing that.
Finding a way to be productive but also having healthy boundaries, right? Getting that spoke of life, right? All of those other areas, in alignment as well, I think is super important for sure. Yeah, no, that's good to know. So you also mentioned, actually, I thought I'd bring up too, something that, I think if you're, at least I remember when I was not doing as much production as I am now, but like, when I first started in the business, I didn't necessarily have a coach, but you have a coach. You mentioned you have a coach. I have worked with a coach now. I've worked with a few different coaches over the years as well. And I think that, it's really for me too, it's important to have somebody else that is that sounding board, right? It's that person to dialogue with. It's that person that says, hey, I know you're having a successful business, but are you truly living the life you want, right? And sometimes I think it takes a coach to kind of reflect that mirror back on yourself and say, hey, what's true? What are we truly building here? What's our ultimate end game? I mean, is it just from 50 deals to 100 and 100 to 150 or whatever it is? And maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but like what else might be important? And I think having a coach to talk through and sort through and strategize on those options, at least for me, has been really helpful. What, I don't know, what would you say? Anything about coaching that comes up for you in terms of that you think our listeners would find helpful?
So I'm a huge proponent of coaching. It's no different than having therapy or anything else of that nature. The only difference is it tends to be more business focused. In my situation, shout out to my current coach, Lee. He really asks the questions to move me along through the process. So there's a box, and on one side of the box there's unconscious and conscious, and on the other side it's incompetence and competence. And we always tend to start at unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know what you don't know.
Hey, I just got licensed. I'm going to do this. This is gonna be great.
Absolutely.
We have 2 deals right away. Look, this is easy.
It's easy. And he asks the questions, and a good coach is going to ask the questions to really broaden your mindset and to help you be more self-aware so that you can move from that to being consciously incompetent. Now I know there are things I don't know. And then moving along to the process of being, okay, now I'm unconsciously competent. Now I'm learning and I'm making the behaviors and the habits that have changed, but I don't exactly know what's leading to some of these successes. And then getting to the point of being consciously competent of, okay, I know what I got to do. I know what I need to execute to deliver on what my full life is going to be. So a coach is just meant to be there, even whether you're an athlete or you're a vocal coach, or you're in theater, or in the arts, or if you're in business. No matter where, there's always room and there's always somebody that can do what you are doing better than you can. And it's best to go through and align yourself with them and get them in your corner so that you can go through and create that more perfect life.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think having someone out there that has seen and experienced things differently, that can bring that self-awareness to light, I think is totally helpful and transformative too. I mean, I think that there's been times I know in my career when I felt I've almost felt like this sense of independence, right? Like I don't need a coach. I don't need anybody telling me what to do. I can just figure this out, and I'll just try this and try that and try that. And I'm, I tend to be, I don't know if that was part of my upbringing or just who I am, how I'm wired or something, but I tend to be somewhat more self-reliant, right? Like maybe it was, it may have been, I was a wrestler all through high school and 3 years in college. So maybe it was that sense of independence there, right? It's like, nobody's going to do this unless I do it, right? But the next level and the upgrade that's available to myself and anyone else, I think, that is overly relying on themselves, is to be more interdependent, right? You need to rely on others. You need to rely on your your wife to help you in your business. I need to rely on my other team members to help us in our business so that we can all have a more fulfilling business, life, career, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so that's something. It's taken me a long time to kind of learn, and I'm still learning it, of course. You can ask my wife. I don't always rely on maybe her and others as much as I need to or should, but I'm learning how to flex that emotional muscle as well. But it's at least for me, it's it's taken some coaching as well to really learn that, and some self-awareness piece. So that's good. Well, cool, man. What God, I feel like this has been a great chat. I don't know, we can chat all day, but
I was gonna say we can keep it's perks of being able to go through and have two people have a conversation about things like this. It's a lot easier to talk about things that are positive and how to grow than how to wean off of it and how to get everything subsiding. So it's a lot easier.
A lot easier for sure. I mean, there's always something to, I think there's always something negative to find if you find it, but I think there's always something positive there if you look for it as well. And so, a deal might fall apart, but you know what? Maybe it was meant to be, and you'll find the next deal, or you'll find the next house for that client, whether it's a buyer or if it's a seller, you'll find the next buyer for that house, and it'll happen, and you just gotta keep going, put that right frame of mind, positive, and bookend your days, positive and negative. I like that. Surround yourself with the right people and get energized.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Well, very cool. Well, any parting words or last bit of things you want to say before we sign off here today?
Yeah, you know what? It was a great conversation. I appreciate you having me on. Again, if I were to leave people with 3 things: be transparent and vulnerable about how you're feeling and what you're struggling with and what you're going through. Make sure you support yourself with the right people. It's very difficult to go through and try to grow and not have that type of support. So make sure you're always putting yourself around the right people, and always make sure that you put people before profit.
There you go. People before profits. Put yourself in the right rooms, and you can help yourself and your business grow and leave a legacy that others are proud of as well. God, I love that conversation. I love your tips, and I had a great time with this discussion. So I hope I know I got some value out of this conversation. So I would imagine our listeners also hopefully got some value out of it as well. And thank you again, Alex, for coming on our show and being a guest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, you're listening to the Better Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Lavik. And if you enjoyed this, then tune in next time to hear some more from myself and other guests that we have on the show as we talk about growth in your real estate business. So thanks again. And this is the Better Agent Podcast. Thanks for tuning in to the Better Agent Podcast. I hope you found today's insights valuable. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for more tips, Q&A sessions, and sneak peeks into our 21-day challenge. To get full access of our show notes and more details on the 21-day challenge, go to abetterrealestateexperience.com. Keep striving for greatness, and I'll see you on the next episode.